Look at this. We're just holding off. I've been trying to follow up on them. Yours called us in. He found them for us. So we owe him a big thank you. Guys, it's the Nkuhumas. And they've been following this buffalo herd. Awesome stuff. They're looking hungry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All 5 females from the Nkuhuma pride. Awesome. That's so adult now, looking much bigger. So the herd of buffalo down at the dam, I can still see them. Keep your eyes on the Djuma Dam camera itself as well. I don't think the buffalo have seen them yet. They're not aware of them. The lions know the buffalo are here. They've probably been following them all night. And I have eyes in the back of my head. They're definitely all in stalk mode. Females are moving up using the wattles as cover. You can see everything in their body language is pure concentration. And now this becomes a game of patience. And I think it's a very good idea for Scott to come through if he can stand by with the buffalo. There's also elephant herds as well. I'm going to take this opportunity to reposition while I can. Obviously, once the action happens, we will not be able to change once they start to stalk. Hello, ladies. Thank you for showing up again. And I think Scott must come quickly. That's a message deliberately to FC to come and stand by at the other side of the dam. I've just come and stopped at an open patch. There's a lion stalking just ahead of me in the bushes. Awesome to watch that body language in action. Lying down in the shade, she's going to assess the situation. Safari, you want to know whether we're about to see a kill? And I would say almost definitely. Andrew's giving us an awesome perspective on the scene that's about to unfold. Buffalo, elephants, lions stalking and lying in the shade. And it's all a question of patience for them. They are looking so hungry. But they want to make sure that they don't waste any extra energy in a failed attempt. So they're going to start this whole process. Now it's a huge open area between them and the buffalo. They can't afford to be seen by either the elephants or the buffalo. And they're going to have to figure out a way. And there's always the possibility that the buffalo will actually come towards us. And some of the buffalo moved along the drainage line while we were waiting for the lions to come out. So it's more than possible that some of the buffalo will start walking towards us. If they do, it will be the perfect opportunity for these lions. And Manti Girl, welcome to our sunrise safari. Apparently, this is your first sighting of lions. I'm so glad that we could bring you these views. And I'm actually, now that they've settled down, I'm just going to move forward a little bit so we can get you a nicer view. I also want to be able to assess the body language of the buffalo. So Manti Girl, these 5 lions, these 5 lionesses are part of a pride known as the Nkuhuma pride. fierce and practiced buffalo hunters. This is the first time I've seen all 5 of them together in a very, very long time. I'm stopping here just so that I can assess the situation. And I just want to check with yours that I'm not blocking his view. Yours for Jamie.
We could go just a little bit down there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's go forward a little bit.
I think we are directly.
We are directly in their view. This is so exciting. As I said, the first time I've seen all 5 lionesses together once again, and actually this gives us a good opportunity to have a look at the way that the buffalo are positioned. All crowded around. These lionesses are doing is thoroughly assessing the situation. I just wanted to get you this view, but I don't want to sit here for too long because I'm blocking their view now of what's going to happen. And I don't want to force them to have to expose themselves. But they're looking across, and Safari, Dean, you were saying you love how each individual has a role in the hunt. And what's amazing about it is the way that they communicate that. It's this wordless cooperation, and a lot of studies are being done into the role that those ears play in coordinating a hunt like this. So the back of the ears are dark in color. It means that the lions, those parts of the lions, those crucial parts of their body language are highlighted and emphasized. And scientists and behavioral scientists are starting to do a lot of research into the way that it plays a role in a cooperative hunt. You can see in their body language, relaxed but expectant.
Jamie, come in, Jamie.
You're standing by?
Did you see that small elephant on the other side, chasing the buffalo?
Okay, copy that. I didn't see him.
He's going back. Watch it.
Yours was just telling me about this little elephant male, little elephant bull that's chasing buffalo on the other side. You're up to mischief, little one. What an incredible scene. I don't know where to look. Now, it seems as though my game drive communications are playing a little bit of, or having a little bit of interference on our signal. Unfortunately, I'm going to need them to be able to coordinate with yours, who's also standing by, to let him know if anything changes. So just so you know, if I do speak on the game drive channel, it might give a bit of a shiver, but it won't disrupt anything in any major way. Buffalo is still completely unaware
Jamie, for Scott.
that they are being watched. Scott, go ahead.
Jamie, I'm just coming up to them on tip where just by head.
Scott, if you can make your way down to the pan itself, there's Nyari and Ndlov there. We're on the northern side with these Ngala.
Okay, copy, very good. Thank you.
Tense and expectant. They have to choose the right moment to strike. And as long as they remain unseen, they will have a perfect opportunity to hunt. They've approached from upwind, so their scent won't be blown across to the buffalo and the elephant. So as long as they're careful, they will be absolutely fine. And Brazos, you were wondering whether or not the elephants might chase them away. And I think we'll be fine in this case. The elephants haven't noticed them. The elephants seem to be distracted by the pan. Look at them. Look how alert they are, trying to have a look, pick an opportunity, and decide which way these buffaloes are going to go. Now, they would have been following them all night to try and see. Why has she got it? That amber eyes that we're looking at. One of the lionesses has just got up to move. I don't know what she's seen. The others don't seem to be alert to it. Oh, I think she's going to move back to the rest of the pride. That head rub greeting. So nice to see the Nkuhumas. Scott has arrived, so let's have a look at how the scene is going to play out from his perspective.
Well, isn't this exciting stuff? And you can see Jamie and the lioness, and also the elephant and some buffalo. So we are on the other side of
Where we're supposed to be, and I can see smoke coming out of this car, so that is a big problem. VM, can you see that smoke coming out? We're going to have to maybe actually reverse out of this side. So can you see the smoke coming out of the engine here? So this is not what we want to see. But obviously I don't want to get caught here with these buffalo. So we might want to send you back onto Jamie's vehicle while we deal with whatever's going on here.
Oh my goodness. Lions, elephants, buffalo, Scott's vehicle smoking. I'm sure everything's going to be okay, but he does definitely need to double check that, especially with all of the equipment that's on the back. I think Scotty might be out of commission for now. I've repositioned so that we've got a better view of the lions and that they've got a better view of the waterhole and what's happening there. Fairly certain this is Amber Eyes, so she's one of the lead females of this pride, or one of the older females of this pride. Then there's another one, probably her sister or a cousin of a very similar age. Then there's two young females, and then there's one sub-adult female. I think that's the sub-adult. I mean, she's got so big now since I last saw her. The one surviving sub-adult after the attack by the Birmingham boys. So to see them together as a pride is such a pleasure. And isn't just this the most incredible African scene? And for those of you who are watching, I would suggest you keep tabs open with both our feed and the Djuma Dam camera so that you can keep an eye on both. Because this morning could turn out to be very, very exciting. And we just do not know when they will decide that the time is right to strike. And comment from Nikki's uncle, Philip Austin, who said that the sighting is so exciting that Scott's vehicle caught fire. Hopefully he's okay. I can see him still. Both he and Vim are off the car, busy double checking what's happening there. So fingers crossed they're all okay, so that we can have two cameras on the back of the vehicle, or two cameras watching the sighting. The intensity of those lions' faces, all that concentration. They've been following probably all night. Yours has told me they were around Buffelshoek Kaya Manzi Dam, last night. So they've been moving all through the night, trying to keep up with this herd of buffalo, and just anticipating and waiting for their best opportunity. Now, last night would have been difficult for them because it's full moon, which means that they've lost their main advantage, which is their incredible night vision. Peekaboo. Looking for breakfast through the branches. Ears up and eyes focused. Luckily for these powerful hunters, they know the value of patience and concentration. Led by the two older females, who know exactly what they're doing. I wish I could tell them as well that there was some buffalo that moved into the drainage line, because what they really need now is either for the buffalo to start moving towards us or to move into an area where there's some thick vegetation to provide extra cover for them, because there's a huge space, a huge open space where the Vuyatela Dam used to be before it dried up, that they would have to try and get around without being seen. So they've got two options. Either they wait for the buffalo to move into thicker vegetation, or they creep through the drainage line on the other side of the dam. I wonder what they're going to decide to do. And it's also, as Brazil says, although the elephants haven't spotted them now, if they were to reveal themselves, and if they were to come up closer, little one, are you still chasing buffalo?
Mm-hmm.
And as the buffalo move across, chased by the elephants, let's pop over to Scott.
So, apologies for that mild panic that I got in earlier. I thought the jigger was about to go up in flames, which thankfully it didn't. I'm guessing what it was, because we drove here in such a hurry, the car started getting very hot, and you'll probably find there was just some grass or little leaves stuck under the car somewhere that were getting smoldering due to the heat of the engine. But the smoke has stopped, and there is now no more risk of us exploding. So we can show you where the buffalo are in relation to where Jamie is. Some of the herd is to the right of our vehicle, but then another portion is to the left. That's what you can see now. And Jamie's just beyond them. And I'm trying to work out where exactly the lion are. There's Andrew looking back at us. And they are apparently in the middle of the screen in the shade. And a little bit high up in the top of the frame there. So under the shade of a little guarri tree there. And I wonder what the lion are going to do now. If they're going to wait for the buffalo to move off, or you'll probably find that the lion may have already attempted to try and catch these buffalo once or twice already during the course of the evening. So I think that's why the buffalo are a little bit on edge. And very happy to hear that Phil Austin is joining us on the live safari. Morning, Phil, and you're right, the intensity of the sighting is so much so that the car almost combusted. So hot stuff here, and great to know that you've tuned in for this action. I hope that these lions get their act together and start pursuing these buffalo a little bit more readily. Because for now, it looks like we may be at a bit of a stalemate, and because it's heating up, I'm losing faith in these lions actually doing anything this morning. But good prospects for this afternoon, and maybe while these buffalo start moving now, maybe that's what the lions have been waiting for. And I'm almost certain that these buffalo have had a very rough night, being chased by the lion. And because the lion know that they're far better off chasing a herd of buffalo that are worked up, moving through thick bush, as opposed to being out in this open clearing here. So maybe that's what the lions have been waiting for. You get a good idea of just how dry it is as the buffalo's hooves kick up dust as they move. And so there's quite a small herd with regards to breeding herds of buffalo. There's probably only about maybe 50 or 60 individuals, and that is quite good for the lion because it means that there's a smaller chance of a herd regrouping and chasing the lions off any victims that they may have caught. And that's what buffalo will often do. They'll get a fright, as any animal would, when lions pop out, and if one of their herd members does get pulled down, they will often regroup, come in and chase them away. But because this is quite a small herd, the lions stand a better chance of actually being able to stand their ground and ward off the buffalo that are returning to try and win back their herd member. Now, I was hoping that the buffalo running was going to incite a little bit of action from the lion, but had that have happened, I'm sure you would have been raced across to Jamie's vehicle. And they are looking in this direction, I'm told, the lions, but not interested in moving just yet. So I want to just creep forward a little bit more and see. I think we can get a view of them from here. This is a bit better. We won't be able to see Jamie and Andrew, but I think I can see the silhouettes and heads of the lioness. Yeah, we can just make them up. So they do have their heads up there, just in that shady patch in the top left of your screen. You can see the outline of a lioness's head and ears, and Jamie's car just hidden by some bushes there. The old Djuma Dam cam is in the foreground in the Tambuti tree. That's the little white thing you can see sticking in the tree. So that's where the Djuma cam used to be, and where it will probably be returned to. I think that's just the old one that's still up there. We've got a new one up now with better images than that old one gave out. But when we do finally get some rain and the official Djuma Dam does fill up with water, that's where it'll be, in that Tambuti tree, I'm guessing. So Buffalo, how many times did the lion try and jump on your back last night? You look a little bit frazzled after a tough night out. Diana's just asked a good question, and where are the male lions when you need them? A couple of males to bolster these lionesses' artillery would certainly help the matter. And it's not the case that the lioness will always lead the hunt, Diana. It's kind of a bit of a misconception, and male lions are often alone, and therefore they will often lead their very own hunts, and they can be incredibly successful hunters, especially with bigger prey like these buffalo. And you may find that if the males were hungry, they could be the ones actually leading. But I guess you're right to a degree. The lioness are usually the ones there making more of an effort, but it's not always the case. And a few males would definitely help our cause with seeing some lion-buffalo action. But sadly, none are around, and I think it's just the three lioness. So not easy for the three ladies to bring down a buffalo and then keep the rest of the herd at bay. Anyway, we're going to send you over to Jamie so you can take a closer look at exactly what these lions are up to.
These lions still intently watching the goings-on at the dam. They were watching as the buffalo stampeded away from the elephants. And now it becomes time for them to make a decision. It's starting to get hot, and their opportunities are dwindling. They're going to have to decide if they're going to follow on. They will definitely follow behind this buffalo herd. They will track, patiently wait for an opportunity to catch a straggler. But as I said, they don't want to waste any kind of energy in making an attempt that might fail. They're going to pick their moment perfectly. The one thing about lions is that they are ambush predators. Although their cooperative hunting means that they've got a bit more leeway than something like a leopard. So whilst one lioness will lead the attack, the others will flank the animals so that if they change direction, there's a lioness waiting on either side, with a couple of them racing behind to help bring down the animal if they do manage to catch it. And Maggie, absolutely. Maggie M, who's watching in Australia, she said that this laser-like focus and attention that these lions are showing is incredible. And this is important. This is a matter of life and death. They've got to make decisions. The females have got to decide and keep the rest of the pride alive in the actions that they take over the next few hours. A hunt is a dangerous thing for a lion, especially a buffalo hunt. They never know when the tables might turn. Buffalo are big animals. The Nkuhuma pride, as we said, have had plenty of practice. And Brent and Andrew, it was you, Andrew, hey, yeah, Andrew was filming the kill that they managed to catch on camera, where they brought down a buffalo bull. They don't have a male with them this time. They don't have Junior with them. The male's always a helpful ally in that respect. Sitting surrounded by the bones of a previous kill that I think was actually theirs as well. And wildebeest in this case, many months ago. I think she's got something in her paw. The flies are bugging her. Mercedes, you want to know a little bit about the background to these wonderful lionesses. So, to the best of my knowledge, the Nkuhuma pride were originally from the Kruger area, and they moved in, and they called the Nkuhumas because they were found under a brown ivory tree. And Nkuhuma is the local name, the Shangaan name for brown ivory. Now, when I first started working here, I was told the story of how there were 9 members of the pride originally. So it was 6 adult females, 2 sub-adult females, just coming out of the cub age and up to sub-adult age, and 1 young male, 1 sub-adult male. In February of last year, apparently one of the lionesses was killed by the Birmingham boys. I'm not sure where that happened, and it was the sort of the first burgeoning signs of the takeover that was going to start to come into play rather. So originally the Nkuhuma pride were controlled by, or generally moving in the territory of, the 2 big Matimba males. Then in July, the Birmingham boys made their first real play for power, and the Matimba males fled. They realized that they had to pick their battles, and they didn't even try and... Oh wow, that is awesome. Fierce teeth of the predators. Yes, the Birmingham boys came in, they chased the Matimbas away, and the biggest problem with that then was the youth of the Birmingham boys actually translated into terror for the lionesses of the Nkuhuma pride. So they responded with aggression, their testosterone levels were flying high, and they killed one of the Nkuhuma lionesses, we think, although we'll never know the truth behind it, we think in defense of the sub-adult females and Junior, probably the sub-adult females. The Birmingham boys then got hold of one of the sub-adult females and killed her as well. They were just at the wrong age, just at the cusp where the Birmingham boys might have decided to leave them alone. So generally when a pride takeover happens, the new males kill the cubs of the females to bring them back into estrus and to provide them with mating opportunities and the chance to pass on their own genetics. And the sub-adult females were just that little bit too young, so the Nkuhumas fled in terror. And for a long time, they were very scattered, very fractured. And eventually it was one of the young females that we first saw finally making a ploy for peace and mating with the Birmingham boys. And Mercedes, you were also wondering whether it was possible these lionesses could be pregnant. with the Birmingham boys' cubs, or indeed any other male, because quite often there's a level of playing the field in lionesses, good way of ensuring that, or increasing the chance of their cub's survival. Generally what happens during a pride takeover is that first estrus cycle that the females go into is a false estrus. First of all, to placate the males, but also then to make sure that they don't waste any energy in terms of raising cubs, only to find that actually the new males have been displaced again, because there's always a period of transition and confusion within a takeover. And quite often what will happen is one coalition will go in, take over, and then get booted out by another one. So they don't want to waste their energy producing a litter of cubs that may inevitably be killed by a new set of males. So that first estrus, elephant snorting, that first estrus is a false estrus. Now the Birmingham boy takeover and the first mating, when did that first mating happen? I think it was around September. I could stand corrected. My sense of time and perception tends to go out a little bit. So you're looking at about the first 3 to 6 months of a new pride male takeover, that the females will be in false estrus. But at this point, now almost 6 months down the line, or 7 months down the line, there is a chance that one or more of these females is pregnant. They have been seen mating with the Birmingham boys since that takeover, but it will be a time before we start to see cubs. I believe that there's a good chance that there is a Styx cub on the way. Hello, beautiful starling. Look at the way that it's shimmering in the light, completely ignored by the lioness. So that bird is completely black in colour, and that that glimmer and the sheen that its feathers take on actually comes from the way that the keratin of the feathers is laid across the melanin pigment, so across the dark pigment. And it creates a reflection of the green and the blue that we see here. So all it's doing is absorbing light and reflecting back the iridescent colours. Fierce focus. And Kat, who's watching in tempo, you were just commenting how you can see the differences in the individual lionesses' faces. And you can, but you can also, what I like about it as well is the similarities. You can see how they're all related to each other, but each one has a unique, it's like a family. It is a family, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's not like a family, it is a family. So brothers and sisters that all look similar but different. The lionesses are the same. And we call Amber Eyes because she's got those incredibly orange eyes. Not all that unusual in lionesses, but you do get some of them that definitely show up with a more orange eye. Now the standoff begins and patience has to begin to show. Let's go over to Scott's side and see what's happening over there.
I think it might be worth coming to us now. We're copying.
They're coming. Nice.
Okay, so we couldn't resist but make sure that we got you into the area for this young elephant's display that it's about to put on. Now it's come out and here it goes, in search of trouble with these buffalo. And I'm actually surprised how far it's distanced itself from the rest of the herd, which are behind us at the waterhole still drinking. And isn't this awesome? And the fact that it's looking quite clumsy with that half wet face, half white face, or dry face rather. And as this young Ellie toys with the buffalo, Nancy would like to know if we think these buffalo are waiting for the elephant to leave the waterhole. And yes, that certainly could be the case, especially if the buffalo haven't had a drink yet. Now, I obviously don't know that, but I assume that is the case. And not too sure also how close they were to the water's edge earlier, but that certainly is a good theory, Nancy. And there's not much water around, so these buffalo will be more than happy to wait their turn. But they're going to have to get past this very intimidating young elephant before they can think about that. It's not unlikely that this elephant gives us a little charge as well while it's on its rampage. And while things are at a bit of a stalemate, we can show you a bit of a... Oh no, it's not at a stalemate just yet. Here it comes. Is it your turn to pick on us now? Unsure of yourself, young man. Let's see if it can't pluck up the courage to get this little portion of the herd that's lying down up and on their feet. And also on the topic of animals waiting for a drink, Kyle is interested to know if the lions may also be waiting for the elephants to finish off their drink. And certainly, Kyle, good observation. And the lions know that it would be silly to go up and try and get to the water now, because the elephants will make sure to chase them away. What's this young Ellie doing? I think he's just standing in the shade of these bushes. But let's give you a kind of 180-degree view of everything that's going on around us, just so you've got an idea of where these buffalo are in relation to the lion and the rest of the herd of elephants. So the dam wall's right in front of us over there, and then the lion are just through this next little gap over here, sleeping in the shade still. There we go. There's Jamie's car, you got a glimpse of, and the lioness. Haven't moved a muscle. And then further to the left is the rest of the herd of elephants, who are really enjoying taking their time at the waterhole. Good. So what I'm thinking of now doing is, we need to get you across to the Ellie quickly. And he just started trundling towards the buffalo there. Here he goes again. Look at him holding his head up high, trying to make himself look as big and mean as possible. Just going to get into a better spot in case he does decide to go at them again. I don't know if the elephant got a bigger fright or the buffalo. Oh, it's awesome. Absolutely wonderful. Interestingly, actually, a portion of this herd of elephants did already move across in that direction, so maybe this youngster's trying to catch up with those ellies that have already moved off. Hard to be certain, but wasn't that wonderful to see the young boy getting a little bit ahead of himself? Well, it is really heating up now, and I fear that we may have to wait until this evening for these lions to get their act together. Although, you guys may still be in luck a little bit later on. I think once these elephants do move off, there's a strong chance that these lions may come for a drink at the water. So whoever the Zoomy is, good prospects for you. But for those of you who are wanting to see lions hunting buffalo, one of the most epic of showdowns to see in Africa, we are going to have to wait until this evening, I think, for that to happen. There's two birds of prey soaring up on the hot air thermals to our south. They could be African hawk eagles, the same kind of birds we saw earlier across on Arethusa. Hard to tell from here. But this is going to be wonderful, watching how quickly they manage to rise up. And it further emphasizes how hot it's getting now. And at this time of the day, all of the birds of prey are going to be making the most of riding these hot air thermals high into the sky without having to flap their wings even once. Well, it looks like we're going to have the rest of this herd of elephant passing by us. I'm just going to roll forward to get into a good spot for that. It may well even be worth getting this VR remote up and running as the elephants come past us. So that's the beeping you can hear. That's the VR camera. Films 360 degrees. And I just needed to let off a little clap there just to activate it. And let's see what happens as these ellies stream past us. Now, just like earlier, the young bulls may be the ones that show us a little bit of attitude, just like those young bull, or the young bull earlier, chasing those buffalo. This looks to be two young bulls making their way past us now. What are they going to do? Hey, boys? Interested in showing us how big and strong you are? No? Okay. Well, your cousin over there has just been chasing the buffalo. We won't mind if you do the same thing for us. But they all seem very relaxed, and there's just one bull now that's left behind, still drinking at the water's edge, so there's still prospects for one other ellie to come streaming past us and show us what it's made of, as the young bulls so often do. Kevin Catfish, you would like to know my thoughts on what would have happened had the elephants not have been here. Well, because I wasn't here initially, it's hard for me to say, but I'm guessing the buffalo would have drank, and the lions may have tried to make an attack on the buffalo, but it's so difficult to hypothesize what may happen, Kevin. There's only one way of finding out, and that's just to be there as the event unfolds. The chance of the lions taking down these buffalo, though, or even attempting to stalk them in this open area, would have been very slim, I think. Even if the buffaloes were drinking and no elephants were here, there's not much cover for the elephants to sneak up on them, and therefore I don't presume anything different would have really actually happened. Okay, Kevin, well, we're going to send you back onto Jamie's vehicles to see exactly what these sleepy lionesses are up to.
And apart from the odd movement to dislodge any flies that might be bothering her, the lions don't seem to be showing any signs of moving. The temperatures have skyrocketed. From the moment we saw them until now, the temperature's probably gone up at least 10 degrees centigrade. It's now sitting over 30 in my estimation. So already a boiling hot morning before 8 o'clock. And I think for now, the opportunities are done, and it's time to rest up, preserve as much energy as possible for the explosive hunt that is going to happen, or hunting attempt that is going to happen, either later this afternoon or sometime into the evening. At least we know we've got an incredibly exciting day planned. Now keep your eyes peeled on the Djuma Dam camera in between the drives. Let us know if you see them moving. I know I don't have to ask. Our regular viewers do it all the time and update us as to which way the animals have gone. If they do move, I suspect it will be to keep track of the buffalo herd. They might follow behind it. And so where they go this afternoon will be determined by where those buffalo decide to move to. I think at the moment they've decided it's not worth the risk of overheating. It's just too hot. These huge animals produce so much heat in those bursts of energy that they put into their hunts. Both Shannon and Majikle, he was saying it would have been thoroughly more convenient if the elephants decided to chase the buffalo in towards the lions. And just as an interesting aside, we get asked fairly regularly how often lions have to eat. Remember 2 days ago, we were sitting with 3 of the lionesses with very round bellies, and right on cue, they are hungry again. So now you get to see it actually play out in practice for those of you new viewers who are wanting to learn a bit more about lions. Heads up again, I think in response to a little bit of noise from the lodge. Now looking across to see what's happening with their buffalo, with their breakfast possibilities. I think, ladies, your breakfast buffet is on the move. But for them, a bit hot and time to hide in the shade. And Pam surely wants to know how tall these lionesses are, and it's so difficult to get a perspective when they're on camera. And probably at shoulder height, Pam, I'm about 5'7". They would come up to at shoulder height, close to my hips, at head height, close to my chest. But what I do have for you, which I just have to find, if you give me one moment, is a picture of the comparison in terms of, or a scale picture to give you a rough idea. So there we go. For Pam Shirley, oh my word, that's bright. The sun is so bright now. The lionesses are slightly shorter than the male lion that they've pictured here, but there you can see in comparison to a grown man, roughly how tall. The female's back would probably come up to about here, so slightly shorter. We're talking over a meter in terms of height, so over 3 feet. I just want to have a look quickly and see if I can figure out while we look at these lionesses what the tallest recorded lion is. So generally females average about a meter. Yeah, that is about right. A meter, so 3 feet in height. I'm trying to see what if this book has the largest height. I can tell you that the heaviest female, just an interesting aside, was 175 kilograms, which is absolutely enormous. That is 175 kilograms is close to 350 pounds. So that is huge for a female. The heaviest male, the biggest male ever recorded, was about 260 kilograms, so close to 500 pounds. These are big animals and they're powerful, but what that does mean is that they have to preserve their energy very carefully. As we approach the end of the sunrise safari, let's go back across to Scott very briefly, and then we'll spend our last few moments with these females.
So it looks like this herd of buffalo are temporarily in luck, and I don't think are going to have any further attacks from the Nkuhumas lioness. If anything, it's the elephant they need to watch out for, and hopefully that young bull doesn't terrorize them too much through the course of the day. It'll be interesting to see whether these buffalo move and how far during the course of the day, because it is very warm, so that bodes well for the lion. Hopefully the buffalo won't be too far from them this evening, and it also bodes well for all of us then, because the sunset safari will be incredible if we see a showdown between those lioness and these buffalo. Even if the buffalo disappear though, there's bound to be some other potential prey coming to the waterhole, so they are very much in a good spot for an ambush, possibly during the course of the day, and even more likely later on. And Aaron, it is interesting stuff and quite surprising that buffalo do fight back and will often actually injure lion quite critically. And it is wonderful to know that some of the prey species can actually stand up for themselves when under attack from the predators. And interestingly enough, more often than not, Aaron, when viewing this very same pride, the Nkuhumas pride, often actually hunting in this very same area, we've seen them being shown up and made to look like they don't know what they're doing by the buffalo. The lion come charging out, hoping to turn the buffalo and get them running, and the buffalo just look at them and, if anything, start chasing the lion away. So it can be quite humorous, and be prepared to lose a lot of respect for lions because buffalo will often show them up. Guys, it's been a wonderful morning. Thank you so much for all of your contributions, questions and comments. Well done to VM on camera and to Nikki and Kirsty in the final control room. We're going to send you back to Jamie and the Lions for the last few minutes.
And we started this sunrise safari by saying that we have no idea what to expect, since we come to you live and the animals create the stories themselves. We just have to go along with it. And what an epic morning they have provided us with. Surrounded by the previous remains of an old kill, the Nkuhumas pride patiently waits for an opportunity to take down a buffalo. We will catch up with you on the Sunset Safari. A big thank you to Andrew for all of his wonderful camera work, the lovely ladies Kirsty and Nikki and FC, as well as to you, Eugene. And thank you so much to all of you for your questions and your comments and all of the wonderful things you have to offer. Join us this afternoon. It's going to be epically exciting. Cheers, guys. We'll finish off with a last view of these lions.